Well, hey friends, this is Jennifer, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, the podcast for women who want to find freedom in both their life and in their business. I own a multi-7-figure-a-year coaching business. I'm also a certified life coach. So I have the honor of helping thousands of women every single month make money in the online space and help them to get unstuck from whatever is holding them back, all without sacrificing their faith or their family. In this show, you're going to get the very best life and business advice, always with a healthy dose of Jesus. So buckle in, my friend. I'm so excited that you are here. Well, hey there, my friends. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about something fun today. Well, not necessarily fun, but I had this thought last summer, which, by the way, is the last time Jason and I were, well, he's been down there for a golf trip once, but this is the last time I went to our house in Florida. I actually am booking a trip there today. And we're going next month as a family, and I'm going at the end of this month with some of the girls on my team. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, Boujee on the beach, our house that's down there, you can look it up on Instagram, is delightful. And so let me tell you where the house is, and then the story will make sense. So we are on a strip of highway called 30A. The highway is called 30A as in Adam. And it is 18 miles long, and there are 11 towns on that 18-mile stretch. And there's a lot of people who are like, oh, you have a house in Destin. No. It's not like Destin at all. Destin has really tall buildings, it's very busy, it's very crowded. It is not at all like Destin. It is not at all like Panama City. It's in between the two. So if you can imagine like 11 quaint little towns with, some of them have a really funky vibe. Some like Alice Beach, or where all the influencers go to live, or go to take pictures. And so we love that area. There are some of the quaintest, cutest little boutique stores on 30A. It's one of the things that we love to do when we're down there, is just to go shopping. So one of my favorite stores is a store called Disco. Okay. Go with me. Disco. And it has really cute clothing. It's in Rosemary Beach. Rosemary Beach is one of our very favorite of the 11 towns. We ride our bikes there almost every day when we are down in that direction. So we were in a store called Disco the last time we were there, and I found some books that were like, let me see if I can describe them to you. They're fake books. Like it's the inside is the guts of another book, but the outside is painted. And one of them says like Louis Vuitton. One says Coco Chanel. One says Tiffany & Co. One says Gucci. And they're like white, but then the binder is made with like a color. So like it's a pink background, and then the word Gucci is all in like shiny, shiny gold. If you go to Jennifer Allwood Home, you'll see a picture of these books. It's actually on Boujee on the beach. So if you go to Boujee on the beach, you will see a picture there. Anyhow, so we go into this Disco store, and I'm just going to like open up the checkbook here for a moment and just kind of share with you guys the real numbers. And I see this stack of books, and there's like 6 different ones, right? And each one is like $99. And you can't just get one, because that's going to look like lame-o. And so I'm looking at these books, and I'm like, $100 a piece. And my first thought, you guys, is I could paint this. Now listen, I'm talking to every single one of you right now who does that same thing, who you look at the price tag of something and instantly you're like, I could make that. I could do that. I could invent that. I could whatever. And because that's where my brain immediately went. I could make those. And then I'm thinking through, okay, how could I make those? Well, I would have to go to like the secondhand store, and I would have to buy a bunch of books, and I would have to make sure that they are essentially like the same size books, because all these books are like the same size, which makes it really cool. Then I would have to spray paint every one of the books white on one side, wait till it dries, flip it over, wait till it dries. Also, if you've never tried to spray paint anything on the deck of your beach house in Florida, let me just say that's fun times. In case you didn't know, we are right on the ocean, which means we get a huge breeze. So I have spray painted out there before. It's not very fun. So then I would be tempted to spray inside of the house. And then Mr. Magic's going to be like, Jen, did you spray in the house again? I'll be like, yes, just let me where I'm at. Okay. Anyway. So then I have to flip to the other side, and then I'd have to paint that side, and then I have to let it dry. Then I would have to, use like tape, and I'd have to mark off the binder, and I'd have to either paint by hand or spray paint the binder color. Then I would have to get stencils of the word Gucci, the word Tiffany & Co., the word Coco Chanel, the word Louis Vuitton. I have to go buy gold leaf, because it's like gold leaf and not really like gold paint. Okay. Listen, my point here is this. I'm looking at those books and I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I could make that. And I had to remind myself, Jennifer, yes, you can. But does that mean that you should? Okay, listen to me. Just because we can doesn't mean that we should. All right. And so I had to just coach myself for a second, because some of you are making good money in your business. You've got sales coming in. You've got into my mastermind. You're rocking and rolling. Like, you are seeing sales going up. You've got income coming in, but you are still making purchases and making decisions based on, your income from a year ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago. Some of you have plenty of income, but your mindset is still stuck as someone who does everything herself. And listen, here's one thing I know. My friend Laura Meyer told me this one time. She said, Jennifer, people either have time or they have money, and the goal is to have both, right? The goal is to have both. And so in my head, I'm like, who has time to do 4 books like this? And so I just shelled out the money. And let me just tell you, best money I ever spent. Those books are stinking cute. They are stinking cute. If I get down to our house in Florida in a couple of weeks and anybody has damaged those books, let me just tell you, I'm gonna go ballistic on somebody, because they're stinking cute. And let me just say this also. Here's what happens when I just went ahead and bought them. A, I saved myself a whole lot of time. B, by the time I bought all of those individual things, I probably would have been at half the cost anyway. C, I supported somebody else and their business dream. Now, listen, if you're listening to me and you're like, okay, Jen, great example, but there is never a chance on this side of heaven that I would buy a book for $99 just for decoration, and not only buy 1, but buy 4. Listen, I get it. But let me tell you another example I have for you. Some of you have been working on building a landing page or a sales page or an opt-in or a website in your business for 6 months. Some of you have been trying to figure out, you've been doing all the YouTube, you have been doing the Googling, you have been trying to figure out all of the things. And the truth is, you can make one. You made one back, 10 years ago, and you can make one, and you're a smart girl and you can figure things out. And so you're literally like struggling through it, and you'll get it made. It's not that you won't get it made. But my question to you is, just because you can, does that mean you should? Does that mean you should? Just because you can make an opt-in, should you do that yourself if in fact it's going to take you the next 2 weeks of losing your peace over it? Should you actually do it if during the next 2 weeks you're going to miss out on hundreds of emails that you could have had? Should you actually work on your own landing page if during that time when you're working on it, you're missing out on sales every single day? You could easily contact a VA. You could contact my VA service. Shout out to bizassistagency.com and have somebody have that made for you in a day or 2. But instead, some of you are still like doing things only because you think that you should and because you're capable of it. And my question to you is, just because you can, does that mean that you should? I remember years ago when I worked with Stu McLaren. I was in a mastermind with Stu for a long time. And Stu had a saying that I absolutely love. And it was, Jen, he told me one time, you're tripping on pennies on your way to dollars. And I was like, oh man. Let me say that again. Quit tripping on pennies on your way to dollars. And essentially what that means is that you can't even see the forest for the trees. You're like, I was getting all like, I'll just go ahead and make these books, forgetting that I don't have the time or the patience to do that. And honestly, that was an old season for me. Listen, if you're someone who, like me, you read the Bible, you love Jesus, you know that the Bible talks about seasons. There's a season for everything. And some of you, you're still behaving as if you're in an old season. I can remember, by the way, when Jason and I, so we bought the house that we're in 5 years ago, and we paid people to do all of the remodeling, including the painting, including the cabinet painting. And we had people saying, why on earth would you do that? Why would you pay somebody when you can do it? And in my head, I wanted to just kind of shout back at all of them, like, listen, I don't want to do it anymore. Just because I can doesn't mean I have to, nor do I want to. I don't have the time. I would love to be a blessing to somebody else's business, and I just want to pay to have it done. I don't want to do it. So some of you, you're still doing things out of an old season because you feel like you should, just because you can. Some of you are still doing things out of an old season because you have other people making you feel bad that you've graduated out of that season and into another. Listen, let me just encourage you like Stu encouraged me. Quit tripping on pennies on your way to dollars. Just because you can does not mean that you should. Buy the books. Save yourself the stress, the time, all the things. Hire a VA. Fill in the blank to whatever it is that you're still doing that you legit don't need to. You just keep thinking to yourself, well, I can, therefore I should. Nah, nope, not at all. This was fun for me. I don't know if this was fun for you. I think it was fun for me because I know that if some of you will listen to this with the right heart, you will be able to insert something into your own story where you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're still doing blank because you're thinking that you should. And if that's you, do me a favor. Send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to know that this ministered to you and that you got something from it. And in addition, if this did or any of my podcast episodes have ever resonated with you, would you do me a favor and just go leave me a review right now and share this podcast episode with a friend? It is one of the very best ways you can love on me is to subscribe to the Jennifer Allwood Show, share it with somebody, and leave us a review. That would make my day. So, all right, my friends, I will see you again soon. Until then, quit doing what you no longer want to do or should be doing just because you can. Love you much. Bye-bye. Friend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. I'm so honored that you come back for every episode and that you share the Jennifer Allwood Show with your friends and family. Every time I see you guys post about it on Instagram or Facebook or something, it just makes me do a little happy. So thank you. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast if you never want to miss an episode. So you can go to Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Spotify or any of the other podcasting places and subscribe each week so that every week you get the new episode when it releases. So just know that I love bringing you relevant content. I love bringing you great guests. And one of the ways you can help us here at Team Allwood is by leaving the podcast a review. So if you have just a second to do that, would you go over and leave a review for the Jennifer Allwood Show? Thank you again. You're amazing. I'm honored to be here. Until next week. Bye-bye.